Okay, next we're going to have Suzanne Schreiner. She's the administrator for the Synergistic Hawaii Agriculture Council, and she has 14 years of experience in the implementation and management of environmental engineering contracts, including state and federal projects. She has an additional 15 years of experience in the Hawaii small business, farmer-to-farmer education, and nonprofit management. She has conducted industry-wide strategic planning, drafted marketing plans, wrote white papers, and organized workshops. She serves on several community boards, including, I'm just wondering, Suzanne, are you the president of the Kona Coffee Farmers Association?
Yes, I am at the moment.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure this wasn't an old one. And she's also a second-generation farmer, coffee farmer. So Suzanne is going to give an update on the Synergistic Hawaii Agricultural Council, commonly called SHAC. Suzanne?
Okay, thank you for that introduction. I'm pleased to be back here this year again, and I'm also pleased to announce that SHAC has grown since our last meeting. We have now added the Macadamia Nut Association to our board, so we represent 4 commodities. Your board members under HFNA are Eric Tanoi, who is the SHAC president, and Gord Minoi, who is the SHAC treasurer. So let me just preach to the choir here for a second. When the 8 of us, when the 8 board members and the SHAC staff sit in the office together and meet, we've discovered over the years we have far more in common than we ever thought. And it's a really strength of the organization to come forward and meet this way. And let me give you one example. So we know coming out of COVID, all of our commodities had a hard time, but floriculture in particular, you guys were declared not so important. They put you out of work. And during COVID, and in that time since then, I have sat in endless meetings with other nonprofits and legislative leaders and people around the community. And what they repeatedly talk about is sustainability, ag sustainability. And the SHAC message is that grower sustainability is a huge part of that. And our crops, the 4 crops here, are economically sustainable for our growers to grow and export. And this is the message we send statewide, which is our commodities bring jobs, our commodities steward the land properly, and most importantly, they bring that income in for our labor force who needs it. So that's preaching to the choir, I know, but I think it's a really important discussion to have when we have these statewide discussions on ag, that there's many levels to ag, and our groups are very important in the bigger picture. So, and part of the SHAC vision around that is that we see ourselves as the nexus between the market and the science overlaying your commodity group. So HFNA does an excellent job on so many levels. You guys have got it going on with UH. You have a lot of support from ARS. You do a good job in the legislature with your GIA funding. And SHAC's goal is to support you in that. We're not here to step in front and take on a bigger role than you already have. We are here to assist you. And so where we're looking primarily is at federal programs, because within the state, HFNA is very, very strong. So with that, let's take a look at some of the key grants that SHAC gets for our funding every year. And I'm going to breeze through this because I know a lot of you have heard it before, but our key funding is the Market Access Program, which is funds for overseas marketing. And at the federal level, we do a really good job with ag nationwide. We export far more ag products than we import, which is the reverse of Hawaii. Hawaii is very dependent on their imports. So the USDA looks to fund these to help build even more exports, because export dollars come back to us. Generally, we earn more money when we export than when we keep and sell them locally. So we get funding from the MAP program to grow those sales that would not have otherwise occurred. There's also some other grants, like the task grant, that we're always keeping an eye on that might be a potential for some science-based grants out of the Foreign Ag Service. The Foreign Ag Service also gives us direct access to the ag trade offices in the embassies. So if you're shipping a commodity, it gets stuck in customs repeatedly, you're frustrated, you're tired of losing cut flowers, call up Eric, or if you have my email, email me directly, and I'll elevate it to the DC level and see if we can get this problem solved, because that's what SHAC's role is. We also work very closely with our congressional staff to resolve some of these trade issues and science issues. And one key thing that's we worked on in the last year is the Floriculture Plant Health Initiative. There were 4 plant health initiatives that Dave Chun and Kai Kaheli's office put together with SHAC. And it was coffee, floriculture, cacao, and macnut plant health initiatives. And the goal of that language is to insert language into the Farm Bill that basically says, hey, Hawaii crops are important. You need to allocate money. We're not going to tell you how much money to allocate, but you need to keep us in mind. And the more times we can sprinkle tropical crops, floriculture, coffee, macnuts into the Farm Bill, the more we'll get out of it at the end. And this comes out in grants, funding to NRCS, funding to rural development, a lot of different programs that benefit our growers here on the ground. And the Farm Bill comes up for a renegotiation in 2023. It's a $1 trillion pot of money for growers, and our job is to just take a little slice off the backside of corn or soy and get that money here to Hawaii where we can. So let's talk about MAP funding. What we have this year is $151,000 to target Canada buyers. For that, HFNA pays a copay, which is required by USDA, and that's going to be $10,900 for this year. For 2023, we've asked for $127,000. And by the time that grant comes in November, they'll probably shave a little bit down. So we're actually expecting probably around $100,000 to play with for next year. So, and what we're going to do with that money is expand the Canada market. So we're still in stage 3. These steps are multi-year steps. You can't just throw a few thousand at a market and expect people are going to magically buy the products. So we have to really work to develop a conviction among businesses and consumers to try the products. And to do that, we have to overcome certain constraints. Are traders aware of our new products? You know, flowers, we're focused on different color flowers every few years. Are they aware of that? Probably not. Are they aware that we can work with them on cost-effective shipping? Do they know the USDA requirements for export? And on the same time, consumers aren't always aware of the beauty of our flowers and how they can use them, where they're available, where they can buy them. So it's a lot of education out there to the marketplace, both on the wholesale and the consumer side. By the way, all the pictures you're seeing are from the Hawaii Neotropica Instagram page, so I suggest you check that out because we've put some money into it in the last few years to really make that pop for our community out there. So this year we have $48,000 going to social media. And the beauty of the Canada market is it's an English language market. So any media we put out there through social media is of course available to our mainland buyers too. But the targeted advertising we spend has to be towards Canada. So that's where the line is drawn with the FAS funding. Of course, we can do all these programs that have a dual benefit, but the paid advertising needs to be in Canada. So Instagram and Facebook are well known. We've added in a Pinterest page. And to reach out to buyers, we're now advertising on LinkedIn, which is kind of a unique social media in its own right, but we're reaching buyers through there. So, and the result is we hope we're going to receive 8 new inquiries from traders out of Canada to sell Hawaii products. Of course, another activity we assist with funding in is the wedding celebrations. And the portion we fund of this event is the international focus. So some of the webinar setup is what we pay for. And we bring in reverse traders for this event. So we actually bring in Canada buyers, introduce them to the product, let them see some farms, let them talk with all of you, and hopefully can generate some sales out of that. Last year we were aiming for 55 Canadian attendees, and I think we blew it out of the park. We almost doubled that thanks to the social media outreach we did. And we had to cut off signups for the Tropical Nouveau Design Contest. It was so popular. So this is really, this has been a great event for our MAP funding because you get the local focus here, you also get the international focus, and hopefully make some sales out of that. An additional activity is we took the famous Neotropica guidebook, which if you've been around Judy at all, she's probably pressed one of these into your hands. And we're updating it to reflect the products that are more commonly available. Now, I look at this guidebook and I go, wow, I would love to get a chocolate ball ginger, but maybe there's none available. So we're going to try and keep it focused so our buyers don't get lost in all of the beauty we have and can get funneled directly to the products we have on a regular basis, which will help us once again make those sales because they won't be disappointed. They'll be really thrilled they can get what they want. As well as the published book, we're also going to do it in a PDF format so you can have it as a grower. You can email to your customers if you want, or direct them through it that way. So some other activities we spent a few years on, which are still in development, is one is we're creating a shipping hui where small buys can be combined. If you have questions about this, talk with Gordon and the marketing committee because they're still working on this and the opportunities there. Anywhere we can combine shipping obviously is a big savings to our buyers, and we want to do that. The second is the Canadian Growing Media Program. We only have a few potted plant companies that have the ability to ship to Canada with the media program. We'd like to expand that. We realize it's always a challenge for our potted plant guys because they are pretty much 100% sold out with mainland buys. But if we can assist any nurseries get approved with that, please let me know. We'd like to help get you into Canada if we can. So how can you help? We'd love it if you participate in the programs. We'd love it if you talk to Gordon about how you can have more sales or perhaps provide pictures for social media. There's a lot of different ways you can participate with HFNA and their marketing committee. So our goal is to boost your sales to Canada from these programs. The more sales to Canada we have, the more money we can request and the more smoothly our grant application goes. So if you do sell to Canada, that's awesome. I appreciate it. And if your sales are routed through a California source or somewhere else where maybe they don't show up as a Hawaii sale, if you can reach out to me directly and provide that information, that would be fantastic. That really helps. FAS Foreign Ag Service likes to see the successes, so we try and give them those success stories when you make a sale. So let me talk very briefly about other shack projects that are going on, because of course we have 4 commodities, and we do a combination of general grants for all our commodities and commodity-specific grants. So, but first off, I should mention the Shack Foundation. We have received a 501c3 charitable designation for the Shack Foundation, which means specific grants that 506 can apply for, 501c6 can apply for. The 501c3 can, and that includes certain county disaster relief grants, that includes certain state grants as well as federal grants. So if you have a specific need within your business that you need a 501c3 to apply for, let us know and we can be the vehicle to help you assist that funding coming to you. As some of you probably saw in the paper, SHAC received a $6.1 million coffee leaf for us grant for our coffee folks. And that funding went out to 9 separate university and ARS partners between Hawaii and Puerto Rico. So a big complex grant to try and solve a big complex program. And that's what SHAC is here to help with. We were involved heavily with the County Build Back Better Regional Challenge. And unfortunately, we found out a couple weeks ago that BBRC grant was not funded. But from that grant, what was developed was a large workforce development package for floriculture and agriculture. Floriculture and orchids. And so we have this package, and we're not just going to let it fade away. Our goal is to ship this around and see if we can find another funding source for it. And we built a good coalition here in the county with other ag programs, so that was a benefit as well. We have a farm and food workers grant out there waiting to hear if the USDA will fund it. This is a nationwide COVID relief grant program, which would allow us to grant $600 per farm worker on your farm. Hopefully we will know in the next month or not whether that comes through. And another large multi-commodity grant is USDA Climate Smart Commodities Grant. And I heard yesterday, my board hasn't even heard this yet, I heard yesterday that this grant was funded for the state of Hawaii. We are part of a consortium under the Komohana Center for this grant, and I believe statewide there was $40 million received. They had asked for about $80 million, so we'll have to see how this will benefit our commodities once they shave funding off the top. But once again, our purpose is to look at the bigger picture for our 4 commodity groups and move us all forward from there. So that is the quick and dirty version of my talk, since I know we're behind schedule. But here's my email if you have any questions for me. I'm happy to answer them now. I'm happy to answer them by email later. But please let us know how SHAC can help you.